you ever felt.
Are you listening? Damn.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Builds by Bailey. Today we're going to touch base on just about everything in here. Motorcycle's going to get new clutch lever and brake lever today. The Lexus, we're going to go ahead and make the mold and start fiberglassing the last few things on the rear lip. And we're going to start prepping the dash pad for the Corolla so it can get its first layer of fiberglass too. So follow along today as we do some stuff. If we finish it all, cool. If not, that's okay. Since fiberglass takes a little bit of time to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to we're going to sand the whole top of this down so stuff adheres to it very well. But then we're going to take some great stuff and fill in all of these cracks so we can shave that down so it's a nice smooth finish. We're also going to fill in the holes where the air conditioning vents and stuff were at too with the great stuff. So we're going to go ahead and prep that real quick so the great stuff can be drying while we go over to the Lexus and we prep that back there for its fiberglass too. So I went ahead and I put some 80 grit sandpaper on the DA. I'm just going to go ahead and sand her on up. So I've gone ahead and I have sanded the whole thing down. I've kind of grooved out the bad places that are across the top with the sandpaper pretty good, so when I go to put the spray foam on it in a second it'll have a place to go. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take some 2-inch wide tape and on the back side fill in all of the places that I'm not going to use anymore. So it's got 2 big holes here. I'm going to put tape on the inside of that, on this hole, and then there's 2 on this side as well. And then I'm also, since there's a pretty good sized crack that comes across the center of the dash right here, I'm going to put a piece of tape underneath the bottom of that so the foam doesn't go through it. I just need it to kind of have a place to hold so it doesn't go everywhere and shoot way out the bottom so I don't have to shape it down. So I'll go ahead and I'll put that on there and that'll be good to go. Okay, now that everything is all taped up on it, we're going to go ahead and fill the holes in with great stuff. That'll pretty much do that for the moment. Now we're going to switch off and we're going to go ahead and start masking off the Lexus and getting it ready to put the new fiberglass on that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I have cleaned out where the license plate goes back here, got all the wax and the grease off of it so that the tape will stick to it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take some aluminum foil and we're going to go ahead and basically make a mold of this section with the aluminum foil and stick it to it so that way when we go to put the lip up on it in a second, that it has a place, the fiberglass has a place to go to, and then it will be able to release off of it. So the aluminum foil will act as the barrier so it doesn't stick to the bumper itself. So I'm going to go ahead and take some aluminum foil and stretch it out. Start taping it up. Now I'm having to make kind of this little shelf out of nothing, so I'm going to bring it down and let the aluminum foil just kind of hang down below it, so whenever I put the lip up on it I can actually tape it to it so the fiberglass has a place to lay. Okay, so now that I have this on there, it's got a little bit of a flap at the bottom. I'll be able to go ahead and I'll be able to take that and pull that up into the lip inside and tape that to the inside of the lip. So we'll go ahead and we'll put the lip on now. So I now have all of my aluminum foil on the back. I've gone ahead and I've scuffed up the inside of here where the fiberglass is going to adhere on. And I've actually kind of pre-fit up the lip so it's all on there. I'm going to go ahead and use this, like I said, as a mold. I've stuffed up the aluminum foil on the inside. I don't really feel like I need to tape it, just because it's sitting up in there really well. But I've got that all fit up in there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out my fiberglass mat to follow along right at the top of this and go all the way across. So that way when it fits on here, that it'll actually lay onto this little shelf right here. So it'll come down and then lay onto the shelf and it'll stick onto the sides too. So that way everything fits nice and perfect. So I've got all of the fiberglass mat cut out. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to mix up some of the fiberglass resin. I'm going to show you my method. It's probably not the way you're supposed to do it, but I have really good results. So I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down and show you what I'm doing. So take the resin itself. I've also got a big gallon of it over here because this can's about out. But I take the resin, you know the sandwich containers, like you get the sandwich meat in, I take those and I save them and I use them for mixing fiberglass. And I also go to the store and I get these cheap little chip brushes. I bought, I think 36 of them at Harbor Freight for $9. So you use these one time and you let the resin harden on it and you throw it away. So really cheap brush, but it works perfect for fiberglass. So take that off there. You mix out your resin. Take the resin and you just pour it into your container. Only use what you think you're gonna need for the size that you've got, the size mat that's cut out and stuff. I'm going to need quite a bit to do this because I'm making, you know, that whole license plate spot. So we're going to empty this whole container out. And that one's pretty much done. Take your brush and clean out the top of the can. That'll keep that resin from getting all over the place and getting all over your hands. And then whenever I mix the hardener in there, you see how much I've got in the bottom of it. Not a lot, but when I mix the hardener in there, I just poke a hole in it and I drip out what I can on this one, which isn't much. I have to do another one here. But I just take and poke a hole right in the top with my pocket knife. Sorry if you guys hear the rain in the background. It's been raining crazy all day today. Just poke a little hole in the end of it. It's not going to focus for me, but just a little bit. And then use the same kind of principle you use when you mix Bondo, how you put out your filler first and then you put the little ribbon on top of it. Kind of the same amount. So you've got this amount in front of you and then you're going to pour about the same amount of hardener on top of that. If you pour too much, it'll get really hot and it'll start smoking. That's not good. So you don't want to do that at all. But if you pour just, the right amount, I think it's like 40 drops per ounce, which is crazy to sit there and drop all of it out. I've probably got like 4 or 5 ounces here, so that would be a lot of drops to sit there and count. So I just kind of pour some on there, and you just start mixing it around. You don't want it to start bubbling crazy, that's just not good. But you sit there and mix it really thorough. And then you'll be ready to start smearing it on to your fiberglass. Now I go ahead and I lay my pieces out in front of me so I can just go ahead and throw them up on there real fast. It works pretty well. I also like to put a layer of fiberglass down first, or the resin first. So I'm going to go ahead and smear that on there so the mat has a place to stick to. Take your first piece and lay it up into it. Kind of poke it down into place a little bit, and then take your brush and then just start pushing it into place with a little bit more new resin. So now you see all that's left, just a little bit. I leave the brush in there and that'll harden, and then that'll allow me to peel this back out of the container and I can reuse the container. So now that I've got all that on there, it takes about 30 minutes to 3 hours. It just depends on how much hardener was in there. You can check your container in a little bit and feel if it's got a little bit warm. Once it cools off, it's ready to start doing stuff with. And you'll be able to lift up on your brush and fill up if it's hardening. If you got to the end of this process and your brush was starting to get stiff and your fiberglass is getting hard, I hate to tell you, but you're going to have to start all over again. That stuff is going to just start cracking because it's going to get too hot. So go light on your hardener and it'll stretch a little bit farther. So like I said, double check this in a few minutes, and you'll be able to pull it out of there and make sure that everything's setting up right. Now that we're going to let that fiberglass cure for a second, as you can see, the expanding foam is doing its job. It's expanding, filling in all of those little cracks and stuff that were in it that were a little too large to just kind of let fiberglass sit over it. So we'll shave this down here in a little bit, but in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and put the levers on the motorcycle. If you didn't know, I dropped the motorcycle in my driveway the other day and cracked the cover on the side. This one down here for the stator. As you can see, if it'll focus, somebody had already welded a hole up in it. Well, I cracked the hole that somebody welded. So I've got a new one of those on its way. Bought it this morning on eBay. And then I've got new levers we're going to stick on because this one is kind of broken. So I've showed you guys how to put these things on before, so I'm not really probably going to show you that. But I will show you what I bought. So a company called Moose Racing, which I picked up at my local motorcycle shop. They make the levers. So I had to buy the lever and I had to buy the part that actually mounts on because these don't match up with the ones that are on there. And these are just a little bit shorter in length, so they'll fit a little bit tighter than the ones that are on there. So like I said, I'm going to put those on there real quick, and I don't really need to show you, so I'm just going to, it's done. So I went ahead and I put the new levers on. Take the camera off here. So I've got the new levers on the bike. The guy at the store gave me 2 clutch levers. So the brake lever is upside down. As you can tell, it's got that little piece of black plastic in there. But that's what it should look like. I'm still not really happy with the fitment on it. They don't really look like they're made to go together. I did use the adjusters off of the old ones and the hardware off of the old ones because they're Allen keys and not some bolt that could get stripped. And in the process, I squeezed down too tight and messed up the clutch line. So whenever I take off the cover on the side, I'll have to go in there and fix that cable that goes down on top there. So bike is done. Now that I've spent time on that, the foam has cured up quite a bit. So we'll go ahead and we'll start shaving that stuff down. When shaving this stuff down, I like using the long razor blades like you can get at Ace Hardware. I think I pick up 2 of these for $1 kind of thing. But the blade allows you to flex it just a little bit. It does have a way to break it that way, but if you flex it just a little bit, you can get right up underneath the stuff and trim it just how you need to and shave the pieces off real easy. And then all you have to do is just come back and lightly sand on top of it and get rid of the rest of it. So we'll do that real quick and then I'll show you the next step. As you can see, I've gone ahead and I've shaved down all the foam and contoured all of it, and I've already cut out my mat that I'm going to put over these places. Basically the mat's just going to make a barrier. The foam is just to keep it from going down in it too far. So I'm going to put the mat over only the problem places. I'm actually going to put it in the whole tray over here just so it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to put fiberglass resin over the whole entire thing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Next shot will be just the resin and the mat on top of it. Well, I got all of the resin over the whole entire thing. I got the mat in all the places I could. I did start to get to the end of it and it started to gel up on me a little bit on the resin. So I just went ahead and stopped, cleaned up all the edges that I could, poked everything down, and then I'm letting it set. I'll probably sand all of this stuff down and make it as smooth as possible and probably add one more layer on top of this just to strengthen it up and to fix any other imperfections that I find at that time. This is the first time that I tried to use the spray foam underneath the places. It did good for holding the fiberglass mat up, but the resin actually eats at the foam a little bit. So if you ever do that, make sure that you put tape down first before you put your mat down on top of that, and that will give it a barrier. It won't eat through the tape. So put tape down, and then you can put your mat down on top of that. So all in all, it looks really good. In the pictures, it probably doesn't look as good, but just remember, this is in the first stage. We have to knock all the rough edges off of it and then do it again, and then it'll be perfect. So, and then, you know, Bondo and all that stuff makes everything even better too. So, that's pretty much it on that part. Thanks for watching another episode of Builds by Bailey. I hope you enjoyed this Sunday fun day that I had doing all this fiberglass work. Once again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends.